Greetings and salutations from the Wild West. I bet you already know what I'm going to say. Everybody was expecting it. That's right. Whoosh. The little jewel progress continues. We're not putting the cab on today, but we're going to wrap up that front suspension. Not wrap it up, but it was rolling. We're going to finalize the last link. The missing link, if you will. See what I did there? Let's check it out and get this thing rolling. We also got a Zephyr to prime. Got to get that thing out of the shop. Yeah. All right, we mentioned the missing link. Here we are. These are called uniball joints. They're the same thing as what we're seeing on the rear arms that are already captured there. So there's a ball, like a Heim joint in here. They're very stiff because they're new. So it's basically like an eye socket. This thing swivels around, but then it has this surround. You can remove this and service it. Then there's a snap ring that holds it in place. So they claim that these are weldable. These are one of the larger sizes I found. It's an 1.5 inch diameter bolt that goes through there. Rather significant. They say you can weld to this, but I don't want to warp this at all. So I want to capture this in yet another thing and then tack weld to this so that we don't cause any misshape. Just like Marty's part, that was such a tight fit, these are machined in the same way. So I guess that's just the way machinists work. Kudos, Marty. You can see this thing just gets in there, but I don't want to get it stuck and I don't want to put one in the freezer just yet. So that's where we're at with these two parts. So this is the piece I was just describing, and close up on it, you can see that spherical shape, the eye socket kind of thing is in there, and that swivels. Same as a Heim joint. So that's what we have in a smaller size. That is going to get welded to these control arms. I have them up in the air on jack stands, just so it'll be easier to work. I'm gonna measure these two top pieces and verify the length, just so we can get these two pieces to join. The length of the arm isn't as important as the distance from the axle to this joint. So looking at the lower one, it's at 69 inches. So just to err on the side of caution, I'm gonna go 68.5 inches in, because we're gonna have a ring that attaches to that. And I'm measuring off of the axle, the front of this plate. I'm gonna come out 68.5 inches, 2 times. All right, now that we got that, we're definitely on the same length, and we can figure out how these are gonna mount. This is something that's really cool. I discovered this as I walked in the door today. I was measuring this. You know, it's a tape measure, so it's not precise. By the way, machinists consider, but I'm measuring 3 1/4. And this old drive shaft, we just used it up on everything. The outside of this drive shaft is 3 1/2. So with an 1/8 wall, what does that make the inside dimension? 3 1/4. Unbelievable. You can't make it up. Thanks, Spicer. So what we're gonna do is put some tape on this. We're gonna verify, oh, there is tape on already. Look at that. We got a ring from the last cut. Yeah, that's square. So we're going to come the same width as this, which is right here. I'm not going to get too technical about it, because we're going to be welding. And then we're going to sand it to finish. So as long as we got something to grab that decently. Cool. I'm going to cut 2 of these. All right, let's see if that'll push in there. Ooh, no, I think it's the same size. It's exactly. So what I'm going to do is just slice this. I'll let this open up just a wee bit. A lot of people comment on me making the most, getting my money's worth in these discs. Heck yeah, why not? If there's abrasive, it's going to cut. Use it up. So you can see these things popped open just a little bit. So now, bada bing. You can clamp that, and when we weld it, we'll be putting all the weld heat into this, and then we'll tack this into place. That thing's trapped. Ain't going nowhere. All right, 1, 2, whoa. 1, 2, done. Let's step over to the vehicle. You know, we got this piece here that's cut. I'm just gonna use that as an idea for the centerer. See, if we do it at that, we're gonna miss here. So, I'll tell you what, let's bring this, let's move it 1 number over. Let's go 1 inch this way for the edge. Then we could just put this right in the center there. Reason I'm doing that is we'll be able to really cut in-ski to this, because these are 3 inches, 1.5 and 1.5, and this is 3 1/4. So by leaving this little gap between them, we're gonna come in very close to a perfect fit. All right. Now this is gonna be a lot of hacking. I don't think I can do this with a hole saw. I might. If I weld right here, I might be able to hole saw this thing. That'll be an adventure. Let's try it. No, because the pilot's not gonna grab. The pilot's gonna have to be stupid long. Man, that would be nice though. How else do we do this? Class? I know, plasma cutter, right? Or we just grind the heck out of it. Either way, when we cut this, I'm gonna have to weld here. So I'm gonna get these parallel, because there's a little shimmy shake. When I was welding last, I had this turned down for that sheet metal. So I'm gonna go back to like 18.5. Oops, no, that's wire speed. Like 250 and 19, let's try that. That is one of the beautiful things about the 2 knob welder. You just dial them in. Let's see what this heat offers us. You got gas? Yeah, that's hot. Wire speed could be a lot faster, but that gives us a really flat weld that's inside. That'll hold it while we're working. Now, man, I wonder if I couldn't just set a pilot hole. I'm gonna try to do this with the cordless drill, so it has a little less torque. So here's what I'm gonna attempt to do. Let me get this piece of steel out of here. If I extend this pilot bit, it just might work. But it's still quite undersized of this. I believe that's a 3 inch. But then at least I can grind in there. Oh no, look at that. It's totally gonna work. Let me extend this pilot just as much as I can. Of course, that's a Allen key, which I don't have. So yeah, we're gonna wanna go just on the further side, that mark for the center. Let's see, I don't know, it's so shot in the dark. Probably just gonna keep walking away. Nope, look at that. Maybe that's the key. Use a dull drill bit. All right, we got that locked against there. You never know, might be time to get out the anchor lube. Is this gonna work? Sometimes you just luck out. I don't know what to say. All right, it's definitely gonna take a while, but I'm gonna go through it. I'm gonna cut this with the Sawzall so I don't have to go hacking through this extra wall. Dig it? We're gonna leave that pilot hole. So I'm gonna come in like this. Yeah, let's do the same here. Can you dig it? Still got our pilot hole, and then we have this. Prepare the lube. Yeah, it's probably gonna take quite some time, but I don't wanna use the heavier drill because it's just gonna break the bit, I know it. In fact, I'm probably just gonna time lapse this. That was a bit of drilling, but it came out pretty interesting. That worked out really well, both sides. So it got me thinking, check this out. At first, I was saying I was gonna surround this entire piece, but look at how close that is. I think with minimal grinding, I can set this in place and then use the other piece of that drive shaft. It will be locked in like forever. So let me get the grinder. I'm gonna tailor this to fit in there. It's never gonna come out. Like having this extra wall in here, if it was a full surround, it's not gonna make any difference. I'm gonna go for this. All right, so that, yeah. It's like both tips here. Heck yeah. Why do I always talk like that when I'm excited? I think that's one of my cartoon voices. Oh yeah, that's looking really satisfactory, I gotta say. Yep, cool. We tack that, and then we're just gonna add that other piece on the back side. Yeah, so the snap ring goes on this side. I'm gonna put that to the outer edge. I'm gonna favor this. Actually, maybe I should, no, I'm gonna favor it to the outside. I like that, yeah, that'll be cool. All right, put a tack on this. Remember, my main concern was not deforming this, so if I just tack it, I don't think that's gonna deform it. I'll weld it later, but for now, no deformities. So now I have this ring, and if that is gonna set on there like that, I have one cut already. So if I set that cut up down here like that, and then I mark it across the top here. When I cut this, it should just surround it. Yeah, super cool. Yeah, I'll take that, and I'll probably surround this with something again, maybe like a flat bar, sort of like what I was doing over there. But let me tack this on, I'll do the other side. All right, that worked out darn good. I'm really satisfied with that. These require an 1.5 bolt, which I don't have, but I do have 1.5 tube. So I think it's a temporary, the way we set up the last time, when Brent was here, we just tacked it to the chassis, because that way we can, you know, trim it back and really adjust fine tune the alignment. So just for the heck of it, I'm going to split this in half. Make sure that this goes in, it should. And then we'll set on the chassis. All right, we're back. Cooled off pieces. Let's see. Dang, so close. Yeah. I want them to come apart because we're going to have to get that 1.5 bolt. But good enough for a placeholder for now. They're definitely not going to come apart. Let's see if we can slip these into the rig. Try it with the small gentle hammer first. Sure enough. I'll avoid pounding so hard on this, but let's see if I do this. Dang, it's going. It's going to be just like the last time. Crazy machinists and all their tolerances. All right, try something else. Almost like a wheel bearing race. Or it just sets in there. It's enough to get that in there. Let's try the other side. Oh, wow. That went right in. Cool. Well, just going to tack these to the chassis, and that should be enough to locate it and hold it out. Bring in the jack. I'm going to lift this so they both come off the jack stands. And I'll tack this one where I like it and come around with the jack to the other side. Yeah. So I want to set this as low on the chassis as possible. I'm going to drop this down. So that one gets close to where I want it. That's exactly how I want it. Cool. I'm just looking at this to see if everything's square. Like that could rotate just a bit. Get the hammer, turn on the welder. So I'm just going to put 3 big spot welds on this, because this is going to get changed out for hardware that can unbolt, just so we could roll it out without that axle flopping today. Put some substantial tack welds on there. So what I'm going to do with these welds is just slow and steady. These ball joints, the uniball has a Teflon insert, and I don't want to melt it. So we're going to take our time and dial that in slow. Heck yes, we can roll it. Roll it again. Steering is steering. I don't know why the haters are hating. Everything's working out. Heck yeah. Whoa.